Take a look at your social media feed right now. How many self-proclaimed experts do you follow? And do they actually know you? Well, today I want to challenge you to rethink your relationship with online gurus. Many genuinely want to help. That's true. But there is a crucial distinction between consuming content and developing wisdom. Like following a map without knowing the terrain, we can get lost in advice that looks perfect from afar. Understanding this difference might be exactly what you need right now. So stay tuned. I might help you sidestep costly detours in your personal growth journey that flashy courses promise but rarely deliver. Have you ever noticed how when life gets super confusing, you start looking for someone with all the answers? Well, yeah, me too. It's like this automatic response. When things feel out of control, we go hunting for someone who seems to have their life figured out. And suddenly they are all over your feed, right? Those people with perfect hair and perfect lighting telling you they've cracked the code to whatever you're struggling with right now. I want to be clear about something. This isn't because you are gullible or weak. Your brain is wired to seek certainty when you feel lost. It's normal. It's a survival mechanism. When we feel confused or threatened, our brains push us to find patterns and solutions. It's biology. It's not stupidity. Our brains prefer simple shortcuts. Psychologists call them heuristics over messy reality, especially with complex problems like how do I find meaning in my work? And in the meanwhile, the more chaotic the world gets, the more certain these gurus sound. While most experts in complex fields say, well, it depends. The typical online guru declares, I figured it out. Just follow these 3 steps and you'll be sorted. Their confidence becomes irresistible when we are feeling uncertain. I fell for this hard a few years ago. When my career was imploding, I desperately subscribed to 5 different business coaches, each with contradicting formulas. I'd wake up to one guru's morning routine email, spend lunch watching another's branding masterclass, and fall asleep to a third's passive income podcast. My notes became a jumbled mess of conflicting advice. Post daily on Instagram versus focus on your LinkedIn versus email marketing is king. My desk was literally covered in half-finished planners and strategy worksheets, each representing a different foolproof system. I was spending more time consuming advice than actually working. And as a result, I ended up more paralyzed than when I started. And that confusing episode taught me that the allure of certainty is a trap built into our very nature and social media algorithms. These gurus are essentially fast food for the mind, immediately satisfying, packaged attractively, but ultimately empty of real nutrition. Just as a burger might temporarily satisfy hunger without providing actual nourishment, their advice offers quick comfort without sustainable solutions. Well, social media algorithms know this psychological vulnerability too. They push content with bold claims and simple solutions because nuance doesn't sell. Certainty does. So what's happening in these relationships is something psychologists call parasocial interactions, one-sided connections where we feel like we know someone who doesn't know us at all. They are talking to a camera, not to your specific situation. So how do you spot the difference between genuine wisdom and clever marketing? Well, ask yourself one question. Does this person acknowledge complexity and uncertainty, or are they selling certainty? Real experts almost always acknowledge nuance with phrases like, it depends, or research suggests. They admit the limitations of their knowledge. Gurus speak in absolutes. This always works, or the only way to succeed is. I'm not saying ignore everyone online, right? There is genuinely helpful content out there. But pay attention to how they frame their advice. Are they the ultimate authority or someone sharing what worked for them while acknowledging it might not for everyone? And the hardest part isn't just spotting fake gurus. It's recognizing why we are drawn to them when we're feeling lost. Think about the last time you struggled with something. Did you want a complicated answer, acknowledging all variables, or did you want someone to just tell you what to do? Well, that's coming up next. Ever wonder why your feed is full of people making super confident claims instead of thoughtful conversations? Well, there is actually a reason for that, and it's not random. And it's literally built into how these platforms work. Imagine a world where truth is measured by how loudly it shouts rather than its depth. And that's the digital landscape that we navigate daily. Social media platforms aren't designed to reward nuance. They are built to maximize engagement. Let's be real. And that's it. They don't care if you learn something valuable or if you become a better person. All they care about is if you keep scrolling, clicking, and watching ads. And what gets people engaged more than anything else is definitive proclamations that trigger emotional reactions. And this creates an economy where being 100% certain about everything in the world literally pays better than being honest about complexity. I tracked the performance of my own posts for 6 months, measuring likes, shares, comments, and view duration. Well, posts with absolute claims got 3 times more engagement than posts where I acknowledge different approaches might work for different people. For creators, this engagement directly translates to money. More views means more ad revenue, more brand deals, and more course sales. So the algorithm doesn't care if what you're saying is true or helpful. It rewards content that triggers strong emotions. If you say something reasonable like weight loss is complex and depends on multiple factors, including genetics, you might get a few polite nods. But if you declare, I discovered the secret fat-burning trick doctors don't want you to know, and there you are. You'll get thousands of clicks, angry comments from experts, debate in the comments section, everything, all signaling to the algorithm that your content deserves wider distribution. So content creators aren't evil for playing this game. Many are just trying to survive in a system that financially punishes nuance. When speaking in absolutes literally pays your rent, while acknowledging complexity might mean struggling to afford groceries, what would you choose? The entire system promotes content that feels certain rather than content that is accurate. So why do platforms reward certainty over complexity? Well, it combines simple psychology with profit-driven business models. Uncertainty makes us uncomfortable. When someone says it depends, it doesn't satisfy our craving for the answer. But confident declarations trigger strong reactions. Either enthusiasm or outrage, it doesn't matter. And both keep us scrolling and commenting. So these platforms generate revenue from your attention. They don't profit more when you receive accurate information. They profit when you engage with their content, and decisive statements drive more engagement than nuanced decisions. Consider your own behavior online. How often have you shared an article saying this issue is complex with no definitive answer? Now compare that to how often you've shared something making a bold claim you either strongly agreed with or disagreed with. So the platforms understand this psychology and have built their entire business models around it. This shapes everything in your digital experience. Who becomes influential, what topics trend, and how ideas are presented. Your feed fills with self-assured experts rather than those who acknowledge knowledge limitations. And the most concerning part, once creators get rewarded for absolute certainty, it actually changes their thinking. After years of claiming definitive answers to get views, they might start believing it themselves, regardless of all the evidence. This system doesn't just reward certainty, it creates it. Now, let's examine what we miss when consuming packaged wisdom instead of developing our own. Because there is a vast difference between content designed for clicks and wisdom that improves your life. So make sure to stay tuned. It's going to be interesting and well worth it. Think about the last time you had a real breakthrough in your life. I mean, a genuine moment when something shifted inside you. Did it come from the perfectly packaged Instagram carousel with cute graphics? Or did it come from something messier, something you actually lived through? There is a fundamental difference between consuming content and developing actual wisdom. Content consumption is passive and instantly gratifying, while wisdom requires struggle and discomfort. It's like watching a fitness video versus doing the actual workout. You can watch influencers all day, but transformation only happens when you put in the work and the sweat. So real growth emerges from experiences that resist being packaged into quick videos or any simple formulas. Those messy, complicated life situations, they force you to figure things out yourself. And that's where wisdom takes root. These experiences rarely go viral because they are too nuanced, too specific to each person's journey. I discovered this during my own divorce. Despite consuming hundreds of relationship advice, videos, and books, nothing helped me heal. What actually transformed me was sitting with uncomfortable emotions I wanted to escape, having honest conversations with friends who understood my situation, and working with a therapist who addressed my specific circumstances rather than offering some generic advice. So true wisdom often includes phrases like "it depends" and "it's complicated," exactly the language that performs poorly online. Nobody clicks on "why I don't have a simple answer for you." Yet that honest uncertainty better reflects how life actually works. So content delivers quick satisfaction and dopamine hits, making you feel like you figured something out without changing anything. Wisdom develops gradually and often uncomfortably. The growth comes with growing pains. So what most online gurus won't admit is that genuine growth involves what Carl Jung called shadow integration, acknowledging and working with the parts of yourself you'd rather ignore. It's like cleaning out a cluttered attic you've avoided for years, uncomfortable but necessary. Gurus sell sanitized self-improvement that literally bypasses this messiness. But real growth means examining all of yourself, not just the camera-friendly parts. So the guru economy sells certainty, but growth comes from navigating uncertainty with maturity. We crave clear answers and formulas when struggling, but life consistently defies such simplification. Susan Davis' research on emotional agility reveals how toxic positivity and avoiding uncomfortable emotions actually impedes growth. Yet many online teachers promote focusing only on positivity. But true emotional maturity means developing the capacity to sit with difficult feelings rather than trying to escape them. Emotional maturity can't just be packed into some quick fixes. It requires embracing complexity and developing your own judgment. You can't purchase it or download it from a course. It develops through lived experience, through reflection and integrating both positive and negative emotions. And it means recognizing nuance instead of rushing to judgment. So, the guru economy suggests you can outsource personal growth. Just follow these steps, do this routine, use these techniques, and you'll be fine. But authentic growth happens when you stop outsourcing your thinking and develop your own discernment capacity. And yes, it's much, much harder. Following someone else's formula is easier than developing judgment. Consuming content is much easier than reflecting on your experiences. Searching for another video is easier than sitting with discomfort, but the easier path rarely leads to wisdom. Growing emotionally means becoming comfortable with uncertainty and developing the capacity to say, I don't know yet, without immediately seeking someone to tell you what to think. And that's the transformative growth that changes your life, even if it doesn't fit into a TikTok. Now, let's look at what a healthier approach to personal growth might actually look like. Don't go anywhere. It's going to be interesting. One of the most mature thing you can do isn't finding the perfect guru, but learning to trust yourself while staying open to different perspectives. Like, what if that's the actual grown-up move in a world full of people telling you what to do? And when I talk about being a grown-up in how you approach personal development, I mean maintaining a balance between respecting expertise and exercising your critical thinking. Last year, I ignored my own instincts and followed some productivity guru's morning routine that required waking up at 5 a.m. After weeks of exhaustion and diminishing results, I finally trusted my own judgment and created a schedule which aligned with my natural energy patterns. And my productivity actually improved when I followed my internal compass rather than their external advice. And this balanced approach is very challenging. It's messier than following someone's step-by-step system, and it requires mental energy, a lot of mental energy. But this middle ground is where lasting change happens. When you thoughtfully evaluate advice, you develop your own judgment, the essential skill for long-term growth. I've transformed how I engage with content creators, actually. Instead of viewing them as authorities, I treat them as conversation partners. I take what resonates and leave what doesn't without guilt. When consuming content, I constantly ask myself, does this content make sense for my specific situation? And interestingly enough, research shows people who develop this balanced approach, they implement more positive changes than those who either blindly follow gurus or reject all advice outright. It's about finding the sweet spot where growth flourishes. Critical thinking isn't about cynicism. It's simply asking good questions, like what's the evidence for this claim? Does this apply to my situation? What might be the downsides? Navigating personal development is like moving through a maze where some paths are clearly marked while others contain hidden dead ends. And the maps offered by experts can be helpful, yes, but your own internal compass helps you detect which passages might lead to traps designed for someone else's journey. You need both the map and the compass to find your unique path forward. I used to swing between extremes, either following gurus religiously or rejecting everything. Neither approach fostered growth. What helped me was learning to stay in that uncomfortable middle ground where I had to think for myself. You can develop critical thinking by approaching content with curiosity rather than judgment. When someone makes a claim, well, get curious. Ask questions. Consider multiple perspectives. Look for evidence while remaining open to new ideas. Try this. When you encounter advice online, ask yourself, what evidence supports this? Who might disagree and why? How might this apply to my situation? And these questions, they transform passive consumption into active engagement. This approach creates a sweet spot where you respect expertise on the one hand without worshipping it, where you question things without automatically rejecting them or accepting them, where complexity doesn't need to be simplified into black and white, where it can be gray. In my experience, approaching information this way leads to implementing more useful changes. I'm neither paralyzed by cynicism nor am I wasting time on approaches unsuited for me. I can extract value without any drama or any guilt. And this approach also helps avoid the common pendulum swing. Following a guru completely, getting disappointed, rejecting everything, finding a new guru and repeating the cycle. Breaking this pattern requires developing your internal compass. How can we use this maturity to build a life that isn't dictated solely by online trends, but is grounded in authentic connections? So let's explore how real relationships might be actual alternatives to guru culture that we're all looking for. Make sure to stay tuned. What if the antidote to guru culture isn't finding the perfect guru, but creating genuine connections with real people who actually know you? Like, what if all this time we've been looking for answers online when they are sitting right across from us at the dinner table? There is this striking paradox happening. We consume endless advice from our feeds. Videos on productivity, happiness, relationships, fixes flood our screens. Yet people consistently tell me they feel isolated. Social media has become a barren desert of information overload, while real relationships remain the oasis we truly need. We are gorging on digital junk food when our souls crave for a real meal with real people. Building authentic connections requires much more effort than following online personalities. Real people contradict themselves. They don't edit out mistakes. Their lighting isn't perfect. They sometimes say the wrong thing, but they provide something irreplaceable. A reciprocal relationship where you are seen and known as a complete human being with your specific history and your specific needs. I remember a couple of years ago, I hit the rock bottom. Despite watching hours of personal development content, I felt more lost than ever. So I started a monthly meetup with friends to discuss our challenges without trying to fix each other. And we would gather in my living room, sometimes laughing until tears streamed down our faces, other times just sitting in powerful silence when words fail. And the vulnerability in that room has transformed me more deeply than any course or guru ever could. This transformation isn't just anecdotal. Research consistently shows that strong social connections actually predict happiness and resilience better than money or success. Harvard's 80-year study on happiness found that close relationships protect our brains, our bodies, and emotional health. The quality of your connections affects everything from mental well-being to longevity. We need people who accept us fully and who help us see our blind spots. But most guru relationships offer challenge without acceptance because they simply don't know you. Online communities can provide value when they encourage genuine exchange rather than worship. I belong to a forum where everyone contributes equally. And recently, I shared a struggle with procrastination, expecting some standard advice. But instead, 3 members shared their similar experiences. One pointed out a pattern I'd missed entirely. And together, we managed to develop a solution that worked specifically for my situation. And the breakthrough came from collective wisdom, not a single authority. So my suggestion is try this approach. Combine learning from content with processing through genuine connections. Watch that helpful video, fine, and then discuss it with friends who know you. Their insight helps determine which parts apply to your situation and when you're just seeking quick fixes. Engage with content creators as fellow humans rather than gurus. Appreciate insights without idealizing them. Take what works and leave what doesn't. And process everything through conversations with people who actually understand you and who actually know you. Think of content creators as conversation starters. See, their work begins a thought process. It doesn't end it. Real integration happens through discussion with people who know you deeply. And this shift from guru following to connection building helps reclaim something we are losing in our content-saturated world. And it's wisdom that emerges from genuine human connection, the growth that happens when we are truly seen by others who care. Online content serves as a tool, not as a replacement for connection. I am creating content right now, so I believe in its value, but it's a starting point, not your entire growth strategy. So the next time you encounter someone promising you all the answers in the world, just pause and ask yourself, am I avoiding the messy work of figuring things out myself? So your growth largely depends on becoming your own authority while staying connected to people who genuinely know and care about you, who know your life context. Taking radical responsibility for your choices rather than outsourcing your thinking, this is truly revolutionary. Wisdom develops through living with openness, living with curiosity and courage in the face of complexity. Our world is complex and it never will be simple. So will you continue chasing quick fixes or will you embrace the messy, rewarding journey of real growth? The answer lies in trusting yourself more than you trust any guru online. And on this note, I'd like to thank you for tuning in today and spending this time with me. I hope you find it enjoyable and useful. And if so, please kindly consider liking this video and sharing this episode. And of course, subscribing to my channel. This really helps me see that my work is needed and heard. Thank you. And until next time, please stay safe, bold, and don't let them fool you. I will see you in the next episode. It was the Unshakable People podcast with Katie Kaspari. Bye for now.